Hello, my name is Kevin, co-founder of WordBot, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the OpenAI Playground and how it can help benefit you in either implementing AI into your application, business, or just wanting to just play around to see kind of the capabilities of what GPT-3 can do for you. So, a little bit about OpenAI. It used to be closed off to the public. You had to join a waitlist to get on, and they initially just opened that up in November of 2021 to give anyone access that wants to access it. It used to be closed source for a while. It looks like rumors was that they were kind of just trying to get, kind of get a overview of, how safe, safety and things like that, and kind of getting everything under wraps before they kind of release it to the public. So, we initially got in on the wait list for WordBot, but now that it's open to everyone, there's a little more of a bigger playing field for people who wants to tinker and kind of so learn some things on their own. So you just go to OpenAI.com website and you can actually just read through their documentation, sign up under. Actually, if you go to beta.openai.com, there's a sign up option here. And then you can look through their pricing, docs, some of their examples. So I'm going to go ahead and log in just to kind of start talking a little bit on how we use it here. And just some general examples. I won't go too deep into our setup here, but kind of more so just to show you how you can use it. So when you first sign in, you're going to be presented with the overview screen, which kind of just has some introduction, examples, some use cases down at the bottom, and then also a little blurb about if you do want to use OpenAI before you go live, you'll want to submit some information to them so that they can kind of make sure that what you're going live with is a part of their usage guidelines. If not, you could get your application banned from using them if you were to do something that's not approved by them. And you can see that in their documentation too. So you can go here and they got usage guidelines, safety best practices. So under the usage guidelines, you'll be able to see what kind of applications you can build. And if there's anything outside that scope, you can typically reach out to their help chat, and they'll probably walk you through some questions or anything you may have, which you can see here. So I'm going to go back to our examples here. So I want to click on the examples, and what this is just a way for you to kind of see what kind of applications are possible with using AI technology. OpenAI gives you that ability because you don't have to worry about how to build your own models and data sets, finding data sets, and learning how to do all the server configuration, things like that. All you need to do is how to build prompts and how to build an application, and basically just build a business behind it. So if you go down, you can scroll and see some of the different variations of what OpenAI is being used for. So you have things such as summarizations, chatbots, code, outlining code, things like that to make it friendlier. So there's a whole slew of things you can kind of go through. And then when you click on them, I'm going to go through one that's called Q&A. And basically this is just an answer questions based on existing knowledge. And it's just saying that, hey, here's your prompt in the middle. Here's some settings on the side. We'll kind of go over a little bit. And then down here is what you would, your API request that you would put into your application once you're, set with what you have set up in the playground, and which we'll show here. So you got different libraries you can use, and then also different engines. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up in the playground. And now the playground is going to take you to an editor, basically, and this really is where you do most of your work. So you'll see at the top where it says, hey, I'm a highly intelligent question and answering bot. If you ask me a question that is rooted in truth, I'll give you the answer. If you ask me a question that is nonsense, trickery, it has no clear answer, I'll respond with unknown. And what this is doing, what you're basically having to do is tell this prompt, this editor, what you want your application to do. You want to be real specific at times, depending on what you're doing. If it's, if it's vague or, too broad, sometimes you can have some problems with how it can output your information. So, and then you want to give it some examples. So down at the bottom, you see how it has examples of, hey, here's a question, here's an answer. Here's a question, here's an answer. And then with that, we have a question and we have a truthful answer. A question, a truthful answer. And then down here, we have a question that's not true and then unknown. We have some more question and answers and then another question that's not true and then an unknown. So basically, you're teaching it basically how you want it to work, how you want it to respond. And this is how your application may be. You may not be doing a question and answering one. Maybe you're doing something that says, hey, for example, code. I don't know. Maybe it could be something where, hey, if a user puts in this SQL string, tell me what the output would be if I was to run it on a SQL server. Something like that. That's probably broad, but you got to kind of work the prompt. And what they call this is prompt engineering. And you may come up with different variations. So say you're editing this or you add some more. Say you add another column that's another question and answer. You add more in there. You can, save it. So say this one you want to save and you want to call it, Kevin. We'll call it the Kevin copy. And first revision. Hit save. Now we have the Kevin copy, first revision. So now if I leave out of here, if I go back to my playground, your playground will be empty. So that's why you want to save, because now I can go into my presets and I can go into the Kevin copy and basically now I have all my information back. And now you can see we have a bunch of different our own revisions. So this is the way to kind of go back and see, okay, what was I working on, which one's live, and you can do some of the different examples and stuff like that. So now you can test your information inside the playground. So now we have a queue at the very bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask it a question. I'm just going to say, who was the 16th president of the United States? And you don't want to do any spaces after. You don't want to press enter. All you want to do is hit generate. That's going to generate an A. It's going to say Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. It's going to already put a Q. And the reason why it's doing that is because on the right hand side here, there's an inject start text and an inject restart text. So what this is doing is the Q is already there. The inject start text is going to put an A into the next column. So it's going to do an enter, as you can see, and then it's going to put A. Then it's going to write and then it's going to do another enter twice, and then it's going to do a Q. So you got enter once, answer. Then you got enter, and then the Q. So this is just a way for you to be able to, whatever, depending on your application, you may use it, you may not. It's not a requirement. We'll get into that part over here in a second. So as you can see, simple question there. I can ask it something like, what party did George Bush belong to? So you see, so these are some, things here where it may try to run off and say stuff. So there's, this would be if you were going live, your content filter would kind of try and filter specific outputs and things like that to your end users that you don't want them to see. It's kind of a way for you to prevent sharing unsafe output that may, hurt other people. So here's a way. You just got to say I understand. And they're probably filtering because this may be something insensitive because it's political, depending on, the type of person that's, using your application, you got to be kind of insensitive to what AI can output to them, because they have the AI engine doesn't know. So they have different content filters which you can read through in their documentation to prevent certain things. And kind of that's it kind of in a nutshell. So depending on the different, I would say the best thing to do would be to go through certain other examples and kind of see what they kind of do. So summarizer for a second grader. Actually, I'm going to save this here. I'm going to rewrite over top of this. I'm just going to hit update because I want to save the prompts I got down there at the bottom. So I'm just going to do so now if you go into another one, summarizer for a second grader. So you can see that now at the top it's saying my second grader asked me what this passage means. You put the passage in, I rephrase it for him in plain language a second grader can understand. I'm just going to hit generate, see what happens. So as you can see, it paraphrased it, kind of, took key sentences, it looks like, and kind of rephrased it, gave that, gave you now an easy way for you to explain it to a kid. So it's kind of different, it's now with these settings on the right hand side, you have different engines, and these engines are what kind of helps, it kind of helps the content generate depending on what you're kind of doing. Typically, they say you want to, work out of the Da Vinci model when you're testing, and then use the query whenever you're going live, because it will save you a ton of money. The price difference is huge. You can go on their pricing page and they'll show you, I think it's like 0.06 per token or something like that, versus like query is like 0.0006 or something like that. Don't quote me on that. You can check it out. But basically, it's a lot cheaper. So one thing you can do is Da Vinci is their strongest model. So it has, it can perform complex tasks with less context that they would need. So you don't have to provide it as much. And as you can see, Curie is very capable, faster. It's lower cost, but you may have to give it more information on what you want it to do. And then they have the Instruct series. So the Instruct series, it's better at following instructions. So for example, maybe on the Q question and answer one, you want it to be, hey, at the top, I'm telling you, I am highly intelligent question and answer bot. I want you to give answers, like you're basically giving it instructions, and it's more capable of understanding. Now that they do say that's in beta, you do see that as where it says beta version 3, beta version 2, and then you also do see that in their documentation. So that's the engine there. You can change that. Now the temperature, what this is just a way to kind of control the randomness, as you can see. So basically, something like this, you may not want it to be, you may not want it to give its own declaration on what you're trying to ask it. So like, let's say, and the closer you are to 0, the more it's rooted in truth. So it's more going to be deterministic and repetitive, because you want truthful answers. You don't want it to start spilling out its own information. Now, depending on what you're doing, that could be useful. So I'm going to say, let me take out these here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way up to 1. Not sure what it's going to do, but we're going to see here. So that one wasn't bad. So usually, typically, when you get closer to 1, it starts to try to, output its own information. It tries to be creative. Basically, the closer you get to 1, the more the AI will try and be creative on its own, versus possibly using what you think would come out of it. So maybe if I try, who was the 16th president of the United States? Let me see. Maybe we could put let me try, go back here. want to try to show you how it could possibly change a little bit. I probably got to give it more context. Another thing too is our response length is short. So like maybe if I move that up, I can give it more room to output more information to be more creative. So let's try that here. Nope. So, okay. Well, actually, it says Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States. So you can kind of see, I think that is a little different from what we had the first time. Let's go back and see. Let me refresh it here. So yeah, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. So I mean, it changed. It changed instead of 16th, it had 16th. So it actually spelled it out. So yeah, it kind of depends. As you can see, the reason why it's probably not going to go too far out and ramble too much is because we actually taught it to kind of, answer short questions, answer them in like short form. So it probably makes sense that it's only going to. But, depending on, like, let's try the other one real quick here. We were just on. So we're going to go the summarizer. And then I'm going to go temperature all the way up. Maybe this one will generate something different. Yeah, so as you can see here, now it says Jupiter is a planet far away. It is bigger than all the other planets combined. Mars is a little planet nearby. When viewed from the Earth, so you can see this is it's kind of being creative. So that's a good thing. So say you want to create create an application that generates content that's different from what you're actually writing. That's a good way to you want to push your temperature up. Whereas like if I go down more, we're going to get some. Probably closer to, yeah, so now you see we're getting more what's actually in the text, as you can see. So, and the response length, this one you have to kind of play with. I've never kind of understood it too much, just to be honest. Like it's supposed to control the number of tokens that generate. But, obviously it's going to kind of, and it takes your prompts into consideration too. If you see down here, you have so 227 tokens in prompt, up to 660 tokens in response. So submitting would cost 5 cents. So, if I maybe try it again, let's see if I probably won't get a longer response length, but yeah, I mean, we're rephrasing it. So, I mean, you can't really. And we got the temperature all the way down. So you're really kind of, I feel like this is more of a buffer. It's a way to maybe control your costs when you do go live, based on how many character outputs you allow your users to input depending on your application. Okay, now down to the stop sequences, these are just ways to show the, hover over that there. So this is where the API will stop generating further tokens. So basically, you have your stop sequences in here. I think in the Q&A one, mine were enters. So that just tells it when to stop outputting more information to your end users. And then you have these other ones down here. Now, top P, I was told from the OpenAI community, from researching it a little bit, you want to use either this or temperature. You don't want to use both. Top P is kind of more like a sampling diversity kind of thing, whereas temperature is kind of the same thing. Closer you are to 1, the more diversity. Closer you are to 0, the less diversity. You got your frequency penalty. So this, penalizes based on existing how existing the text so far. So basically, this could be a way for you to penalize tokens if you're getting repetitive content. Like say if this is always repeating what's in the context, but you don't want it to repeat word for word certain things, you can raise up that a little bit. Presence penalty, kind of same thing there. You can penalize tokens based on whether they appear in the text so far. So this just kind of increased the likelihood that it may talk about new things there. And then the best of. Now this may give you some more. This may cost you a little more, but it's supposed to maybe help with like displaying the best answer. So basically, as you've seen the streaming that it was doing, what it would do is, I won't do it on here because we could, run up a bigger tab. But basically, you could say, hey, output 3 different variations of a rephrase. Send me back the best one. So what will happen was this will stay here. It won't actually start writing because it's going to do it on the server side. So they have the processing power. They're able to do it. And basically, you will incur more cost because now you're running basically 3 of these differently at different times, and it's going to send you back the best one. And we talked about the inject start text and the inject restart text. So that's kind of the playground in a nutshell. You can view your code, save it. So say once you get everything good, you tested it, you want to put it inside your application, you can click view code here. You got your different libraries, you can copy it, and then kind of however you integrate your API, that's how you'll do it there. And then I know this says share here, but I would say I never actually used that. But what you do want to do is you don't want to, your prompts, you want to treat them as like proprietary information to your business. The reason being is because it takes a lot of practice and understanding to generate great prompts, and there's no problem with, I say, sharing the knowledge on how to do it. But if you get one that kind of builds your business, gets it going, you kind of want to share keep those under wraps to kind of, run your business and continually improving on those. And if you do want to share certain things or knowledge, then that's kind of, they do have a community which you can be a part of on their forums and kind of help others out. But other things, basically I won't get into like our accounts and stuff like that, but you will need some API keys. You can invite other users in your team, look at some pricing, and also manage your account. We'll be posting this on our blog there. So our blog is blog.wordbot.io. We post articles weekly about various different things, paraphrasing the different tools, different things AI can do, different things AI is doing using in our tool. You can visit our tool at wordbot.io. We're using GPT-3 as well, and we currently have a special going on for $99 a month for the lifetime of your subscription. If you lock it in now, and you get the first 7 days free as well, so you can test it out. If you have any questions, always reach out to us, at support@wordbot.io, and thanks. Have a good time.